Welcome in our episode 3 of the AI Revolution Chronicles. Today I would like to start with a little story. It's one of those little African stories full of common sense. It's the story of the lion and the scorpion. Lion is by the river, drinking from the river. A scorpion is coming and asks, "Hey, lion, could you help me to cross the river?" Lion is questioning this. Say, "If I take you on my back crossing the river, you're going to sting me." And, "No, I don't want this." "But lion, if you take me on your back swimming, if I sting you, I'm going to die with you, so I will not do this." So the lion said, pretty logical. He took the scorpion and started to cross the river, and obviously the scorpion sting the lion. The lion looked at him before dying. "Why did you do this?" The scorpion just said, "You know, it's my nature. I can't fight it." Hello, Laurent.
Bonjour.
So this is our third episode. This little story just to introduce the nature and the human nature in particular is what we will want to treat today.
Yes.
Through, of course, talking about artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
So where the human nature is kicking in, we will keep a bit the teasing for now. We want to approach, in fact, to go a bit deeper in what are the risks of AI tools. In the last episode, we quite did the landscape from the society transformation, basically the impact on jobs, impact on the nature of humanity, probably in a way, but not as deep as the one we want to talk about. Here we need to anticipate what will be the next stages. What we have today is good tools based on AI, so-called LLM, that are providing really strong tools to be more productive in the full landscape of industrial, professional activities.
And diffusion models for images.
Absolutely. So creativity and so the translation of language, the whole range.
Yes.
What we anticipate for tomorrow is this famous AGI, so the general intelligence, the one that will be good at everything. And to go that path, we need to introduce first a concept that is called FOOM. It looks like a boom, but FOOM, I took note of it, is this fast onset of overwhelming mastery. Maybe we could start with this. What is FOOM? What's the concept there?
Well, the idea is that at some point of the evolution of AGIs, it will evolve so fast that suddenly there's this onset of mastery. And examples, simple examples are, for example, the game of Go is an example where AlphaGo was able to learn in only a few hours more than any other human knew about Go. So this is a very specific example of FOOM in a specific area. So it's not scary. It is what it is. But now if you extend that to, mastery of everything, suddenly we need to think about the future differently, and we need to think about how AGIs develop. Because if it's capable to do that in a specific application, might it be Go, chess, something else, that's fine. If it's able to do it across the board, language, painting, music,
physics,
science,
economy.
Where do we go from there, right? What happens to us?
So just to be really precise here, maybe there is a little piece missing, is the capacity of the system to improve itself.
That's what I meant, this evolution part of it. Yes, to improve. Yes.
So you mean that, to keep it simple and understandable really for most of people, is to have an AI system that will be able to improve itself by itself.
Yes.
So that the story of AlphaGo, that at the beginning was learning the parties, the past games, from the human history, basically, and learn from that. And then was this Go Zero, that was basically switching on the system without any data and let it explore billion and billion of games,
potential games,
against himself, basically, to build this tree and this knowledge and this capacity of mastering a topic.
Yes.
So by extension of this is in any field, as you say, like I don't know, mathematics or whatever, to have a system capable to improve itself. So, and the FOOM appear at the moment where the cycles, so the cycles we have today, because the humans are involved in this, it takes maybe a year, I was about to say, but you're right, it's already a few months. It could become like a few weeks, probably a few days, few hours, a few minutes, few milliseconds.
There's the famous singularity.
To have an exponential growth of this. And the conclusion of this FOOM approach is we have no idea what it is. Okay?
Oh, no, we can't imagine.
This level of intelligence that is beyond our understanding of today is a level of knowledge that is more than the sum of all the knowledge of humans ever on Earth.
This is what I talked about. We talked about in the last episode when we talked about jumping Jesus. Absolutely. Why it took the time to double the amount of knowledge we have when 100 years ago it was 100 years, 50 years ago it was 25 years, and now today it's 1 year or 2 years, and probably with an AGI at the FOOM level, we're talking nanoseconds of increasing human knowledge, doubling it.
And where this theory is coming from?
Well, the jumping Jesus, that's a good question. I don't remember, but it's very tightly connected to the idea of singularity. Like attaining the point at which AI, not just AI, singularity was more general, but technology surpasses anything we would do. And this was a concept introduced by Kurzweil in his book, and even before. I think the first person to talk about it was John von Neumann in one of his articles. Maybe even before, some philosophers were talking about this in the maybe not in the way of AI, because in the 19th century we wouldn't talk about that, but still in the perspective of technology, right? Surpassing humans. And then, the most recent, again, is Kurzweil, and he wrote about it in his book, what was it called? The Singularity is Near, in which he talks about the fact that technology will surpass us, and specifically AI and its intelligence will surpass us.
And he has a new book coming. That is nearer.
Yeah, Singularity is nearer. Yeah. Because in his first book, he talked about 2045 as being that date, that year where this would happen.
Book written in 25, I think, if I remember.
And so, does he think it's happening?
It goes much faster than what we were expecting.
Indeed. And the FOOM you talked about, and in the article in which this concept is, you will talk about it, they also they came up with some projections of when this could happen, and it's way before 2045. So it's around the corner.
We're at the doorstep.
Yes.
So what is the challenge around this is so-called alignment.
Yes.
So basically aligning the interest of humans, our interest, and the interest of what we can still call a tool.
Yes.
But we start to see beyond just a tool, to have something, an intelligence, to make it like a short, not artificial, not general, just an intelligence.
Indeed.
What could be his own interest. So there we need to talk a bit about the models that are coming. So of course we're going to talk about OpenAI in a minute, but we already know that from the LLM, those large language models, we have this so-called Q star within OpenAI.
Yes.
Can you detail a bit of what is the logic there and how it's like intrinsically linked to this alignment?
Yes, indeed. So this concept came up after Sam Altman was asked to leave, and one of the reasons might have been that there's a project inside OpenAI called Q-Star, and the idea of Q-Star is that it's a way to develop or implement AI models based on something called Q-learning. And the idea of Q-learning, apart from being whatever learning is, it is driven by objectives. So not only is the AI learning how to do something, like produce text or produce images, but it will be trained. Well,
By
it's not
incentive.
Yeah, it will have an incentive, a goal to achieve while it is doing what it is asked to do.
Yeah, so you get a reward to achieve a goal.
Yeah, so in a way, how LLM work today, the difference only would be, well, how good are you at it? How happy do you make the human by producing what you produce? For example, that could be an incentive, right? And
can you tell us about this example, maybe to illustrate a bit better this learning? This blind hunter.
Yes. So this is a research project, and in this research project of Q learning, they had different models, and one was quite interesting, in which two agents were in an environment they did not know. Agent being an AI. One of the agent is a hunter, and it can hunt for food. But it's blind. Mm-hmm. And the other agent can see the prey, but cannot hunt. And the objective or the goal or whatever they need to align to is
their incentive, basically,
energy.
They need to have energy.
Yeah,
and
they need to eat.
So they need both to eat to survive.
Yeah. And so over generations, dying and learning, they learn to cooperate, because that would align their incentive.
Yeah.
Meaning that the non-blind agent will tell the blind agent, there it is, kill it. But share.
And that's the mind-blowing part. And share
and then
the result, because the one hunting understand that he will not have the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the optimal solution to this objective. Basically. Yeah, this is the optimal solution. Of course, it's not out of the box. It will happen over several generations. They have to learn, right? They need to experiment. Oh, if I kill you and I eat, okay, I will only live for so long. But if I keep you alive and I share so much, maybe a little bit more. So there is a negotiation that's happening over several generations. But at the end of those generations, the system achieves stability.
That is optimal.
That's optimal, right?
Because the goal is simple.
The goal is simple
and unique.
Yes.
That is pretty far from.
Yeah, but how do you do this with aligning with humans?
Yes. Yeah. So the alignment with humans, it means it need to be aligned with our own survival. Our survival is on the scale quite far, but everything in between.
On population level.
Our happiness, our well-being, and to have this AGI not coming to any goal that could be in competition with.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even if we at the beginning give the simple one, make humans happy, it's already culturally diverse.
Yes. What does happy mean, right?
Making happy people in South America is probably different from China.
Yes.
For example.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cultural differences. How do you do that?
So how should you balance and find a way to do this? But it could. It now open a door that what could be the consequences if we get in competition? If the own goal of the AGI, let's think about this hunter, blind, not blind, that need to have something to survive. So start to have this. I was about to say conscious, but it's maybe a bit strong. It's anthropocentric vision, but I think it's clear for everyone.
Has an objective, right?
To have the objective to exist and survive, and that get in competition with
whatever we do,
whatever humanity require. Probably is to put some controls in place. So it means that we will need to implement control within those AIs.
So you mean that it doesn't do certain things, right? Independent of the goal it has and decision it takes to achieve that goal, we would say, here are walls you can't go over.
We should find a mechanism right now to implement a control, hardcore the control, basically, to say, you need to do this, and I don't say the opposite. You can't do that.
You should be doing
of robotics. Don't kill humans, etc. We could put this, but it goes much deeper to put it positively, to say this is your general goal there. So from this point, what we start to anticipate, if you put a control in place, it can be changed. Can be another control.
Indeed. So I wanted to ask, should that also be an AI that is adapting to the other AI, saying, oh, it's doing this, it should not be doing that? Should I pull up another wall?
Yeah, so we're constructing like a bunch of those control.
Yeah.
The example that circulated on the social media readings of the previous weeks was about the paperclip theory. So imagine that you have an AGI to which you give the incentive, incentive on the goal of building as much as possible, and that is important, as much as possible
paperclips.
Of paperclips. It could go wrong very fastly by even looking at humans as source of iron, and maybe consumers to build more paperclip and take other planets, other galaxy, other whatever to build paperclip to the infinite. It could be this if the goal is only build as much as possible paperclips. Now is so what should be done basically? Here you came with interesting conceptualization of defining the population in front of this problem.
Mm-hmm.
You came with the positivist, the cautionist, and the realist.
Yes.
So of course I did challenge you. Okay, there is like kind of bias in this.
Yes.
But let's define who are those people first.
I think the two that oppose themselves the furthest are positivists and cautionists. So they are just looking at AI as it is now as a tool that is applied in different domains and that does something, right? Produces text, etc. So the cautionist would say, okay, whatever it does, we need to be careful. It needs to be ethical. We need to make sure about that privacy is put in place. It should be transparent in the sense of how it does things. For example, if you want to do it in medical, you need to see why it came to the conclusion that it's giving to you. Maybe it's detecting a disease. So you want to be able to look at each step and say, okay, I know why you came there. I wouldn't be able to do it, but I understand how you did it. So I can validate it. And accountability as well. So these are the cautionists. And I suppose cautionists today are very happy with the European AI Act being, accepted.
If you introduce this right now, let's treat it right now.
Yeah.
So EU came with a regulation on AI.
Yeah.
We're the first in the world. But that is good for the cautionist, basically.
Yeah, they're happy about this because it's about the governance of applications.
Yeah, right? It's only the usage
of
those tools.
Yeah. So I took notes. So the safeguard agreed on general purpose of artificial intelligence. So limitation of use of biometrical information. Okay, so that's the data. It's not about the AI model in itself, right? Bans on social scoring. Again, it's not the AI we're talking about. We're talking about usage, right? There are others, and they're all about usage. But I think this makes cautionists happy because we talk about privacy, transparency, accountability, and stuff like that. Yeah. And then on the other hand, we have people maybe more like some...
so basically, this try to contain the danger of the current AI models in place.
Of the application.
But that do not drive the conception of other AI, new AI, that do not anticipate those AGI topics that we try to put on the table. As realist, I think we are.
Exactly.
That is much deeper.
Much deeper, yeah. I think they try to mention a little bit, now that I think about it, they mention free will. Not in the AI Act in itself, but in the news letter.
But it's still usage. That the usage of those AI should not influence and downgrade basically the free will. So of course, we all think about one of the biggest danger of those LLM models is to tailor content for everyone on Earth individually to influence their political view, their behavior, votes, etc. So hijack of elections is one of the highest risk.
We will know next year.
But still in usage of AI.
I agree, yeah. So
let's go back to this.
So I would just finish there was the cautionist, and I think their frenemies, if you like, are the positivists that think, but it's fine, but still AI is good. It will help us to live a better life, create better society, make jobs easier for people. And I would say that maybe some Altman is in that field of people who say like,
clearly.
Here's the AI, have fun, right? You pay for it, but have fun, right? Mm-hmm. And I think these are there are factions and they discuss about things usage. But if we zoom out and we don't talk about users, but we talk about AI itself and FOOM and all these things, those dangers, I think as a realist, you could say, these are earthly problems. They are local problems. They are really, it doesn't matter what decisions we take there, because there's nothing about containment, as you mentioned, alignment, as you mentioned, right?
Our containment, let's step in it. Okay, we have defined the concept of FOOM.
Yeah.
So this exponential learning, improving
exactly.
AI that will at some point be really exponential and get totally out of our even understanding.
Yeah, will surpass us. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
So that's the point of danger because of alignment.
Yes.
So now we need to talk about containment.
Yes.
And containment is pretty funny. Funny, depends on the consequence. How can we contain this? How can we experiment?
Yes.
Because we are tempted.
Of course. And this is what you...
This is our nature.
Yeah, and isn't that the...
It's a Scorpio.
Yes.
It's we're there. It's like we know it's going to hurt, but
we want.
We're going to do it anyway. Let's keep this for a bit later still, but that's the concept here. The containment is like, okay, so let's try to have a system that is totally isolated. I don't know, it's like
sandbox or something like that,
in
right?
Zero gravity, without any cables going there, and we manage something in this super secure box. The truth is, preparing this podcast, we realized one concept. First, this AGI could be that smart at some point. It could hide his own capacity.
Yes.
At the moment he gets there, in his own interest, alignment
of its own objective.
Yeah. To hide to us that he became that intelligent and start first to secure itself before revealing what it is, if you need to reveal, by the way.
Yeah.
So then the containment is like, maybe this AGI is going to reach a level that he will see law of physics that we have no idea about.
Yeah.
So how could you contain this?
Yeah.
So there is this article we're going to put in reference today that is really guiding our podcast. It's very deep and very interesting. If you want to go further, there's a lot of references in it on top. Take the example of hackers that succeeded to communicate through the fan of a computer by changing slightly his rotation speed. And with a phone hearing the fan speed basically and starting to transmit data through this mean. Is an example, just an illustration that you can think about everything, but this kind of thing is very difficult to anticipate. And it can go much further.
And these are the known unknowns, if you like. We can imagine these things, right?
Yeah.
We could imagine other frequency changes. Maybe the processor makes a sound in a different. You could do that, and this already exists.
I remember a paper I read about the electricity consumption change that could be detected also.
Exactly, to see the keys.
Yeah.
Encryption keys.
The passwords.
Yes, I read the same article. Okay. So now these are the known unknowns. We know that there's more in our computers, more signals that come out, and probably it's possible to get information or even communicate. But what you mentioned before is the unknown unknowns. Is that there's physics out there we don't understand
yet.
So why not? Why not the FOOM going there where we have not been?
And using kind of quantum magic, for example, and replicate itself. Or
there's no counter argument you could make against that. Because you can always say, look, AlphaGo, it played Go in a few hours better than any humans ever played. Right? So
and then we reset it with this
AlphaZero,
I think. Became even stronger.
So there's no counter argument against that, against the unknown. So how do you build then these walls around AI, right?
It's the thing here is like our human nature. So we go there.
Okay.
The realist, we know that we go there.
Yeah.
We raise a flag on it. I think at the beginning of the year was in Feb, I suppose, January, Feb, where you had this famous letter raised by Elon Musk and Wozniak
as well,
particularly, a list of 100 of
intellectuals that
saying we should have a pause on this moratorium. Because what is at stake here is maybe the survival of humanity, even if we can discuss with those positivists, but it's 0.0001% of possibility. But is that serious to talk about extinction that we should make a break and talk about it seriously? And look at it seriously. And right now, it's totally within the hands of private companies.
Yes.
Is out of the reach of any general interest through state. And the European law, look at it, is really focused on the usage of those tools and not the conception of it.
Yes.
At the core, basically.
It doesn't say you can't play around with these models. It just says these models cannot do that, right? It doesn't tell you can't play around with that. It's like there are bans on molecules we cannot use because they're dangerous. You have to, or viruses. You have to go to special environments to play the virus. This does not exist.
The nuclear weapons.
Yes,
you can't build one. Even the country that, like Iran, to mention them. Even in their own individual will, they can't go there. They're under monitoring.
But here,
and strangely, I would say, or we're totally mistaken. The future will tell us how much it is. Again, I think 99% is going to be okay. But this 1% deserves our attention to all of us. And the cautionist that saw this European law say, okay, we feel safe. No, the foundation, they are there, and we are not treating them. So that leads us to this OpenAI story. So we wanted to do a podcast about it, and then we say, okay, it's changing every day.
Let's wait.
So long story, super short, because there's so plenty of content about it. We're not going to treat it here. I want to go still to this human nature, because the main takeaway from it is about this AGI. So he mentioned that Sam Altman has been dismissed overnight on the Thursday night, if I remember well, from his position of CEO of OpenAI. That has been done in purpose because the governance conception of OpenAI is separating the commercial activity from the non-profit activity. So you have a foundation that is the initial creation of OpenAI to be to create an AI for good. For good, yes. With safety in mind. So they did put the mechanism in place to control the progress of the research they're making. And it looks like with this Q-star, they reach a path that shows a significant step forward in AGI. So I mean that, again, what you were saying about the time scale, we go from decades, centuries to decades to now years and maybe months now we're talking. And Sam Altman didn't address this topic as he was supposed to address it. So the board controlling this safety, the cautionists activated. I think here the realist.
Maybe.
They activated their plan to just shut down Altman.
Okay.
All the drama came around because now the mercantilistic
point of view
is there. We talk about OpenAI, that is non-profit, that is the owner of a company that went from 0 to 1 billion revenue in no time. Leader of the world in this technology, clearly, even if we start to see others, of course, Google with Gemini. But let's see where it goes until we don't put our hands on. For now, I just saw a video, marketing video. Microsoft, they were that close to make the deal of the century to reacquire OpenAI for free. So proposed to Sam Altman to take the leadership of their AI research entity, OpenAI inside. Was a kind of rebellion from the employees of OpenAI, saying no, we're going to follow Sam. So it's kind of 700 people ready to resign and leave.
Writing a letter saying,
Microsoft was that close to take the whole thing, and finally, and somehow reasonably, but the board has been dismissed. Temporary board has been put in place. The ex-CEO of Twitch took the transitional CEO position. It lasted a few hours, basically, a few days. And Sam Altman came back, basically, as the CEO. So business as usual, crisis. But what does it show us? Again, is our human nature. We have put a mechanism that was strongly controlling this safety. And what we just did, we removed it.
Yes.
But we as human, it's too tempting, it's too desirable to go on that path. So you have those positivists, and I think Sam Altman is one of those. And thanks to him, everything is moving forward. Don't see me as a conservative at all on those topics. But we simply deactivated the security that was put in place in concept. This is the foundation of any science fiction or movie. Any of them is all start the same. We put the containment, and somehow at one point the guy is like familiar with it. It's just deactivated.
It's okay.
So it's where we are.
Now, what's interesting with this is that these AI being under the control of privately owned entities, companies, is that it will be very complicated to control these things, right? It's not like it's owned by the state. If we go back to the 60s and 70s and we talk about agreement on the development of nuclear weapons, states were talking to each other, they agreed, and it was easy to control because, well, the army is below the state.
And they were not letting any private individual building nuclear weapons.
And if some did,
was on total control of the state and the army.
And it's totally negligible if you go to dirty bombs and things like that. It doesn't play any role. It scares us from time to time, but it's really not changing the world. However, in this case, this is not owned. It's not a government-owned agency that controls those AIs. So if you want to put in place strong legislation or strong restrictions when we come to AGIs, well, what do we need to do? Governments will need to step in a very strong, forceful way by closing labs, closing companies, saying you cannot do that. You're not allowed to do that. But is that acceptable? Probably not, because even if Europe would do that, who says China would? Who says South America would? And that's a problem. That's a problem, right?
It's enough that only one of those emerge.
It's enough. It's enough.
So the competition between countries is profoundly expressing our human nature.
Yes.
We know that maybe it's going to hurt. But if we don't do it, someone else is going to do it.
Someone else is going to hurt us.
So and hurt us back. So better to be the first, maybe taking the risk. But in our opinion here, it's like it's already out of control.
The Pandora box is open for sure. There's no way to close it now. Is what kind of walls we'll be able to build around it, like this containment.
So now is the key is the alignment, our capacity of aligning those programs. There, as you talk about the dirty bomb, you can have the dirty AI. Of course, probably is going to be attempted. And with the technological progress, all of this AI and general AI is not that complex in terms of implementation.
Indeed.
The only complexity is on the size of the infrastructure. So you need to be capable to have massive data center. So it's something you can't do without being known, basically.
Indeed.
Why not a control about this? Of people gathering enough resources to be able to build those AGI. Maybe a clue for the next legislative text. Well, that's all for today. I'm wishing you a happy Christmas. It's going to be the break.
Same to you.
The episode 4 will be in January now.
Yes.
For the new year. We don't know what is going to happen in the meantime, but
exciting times.
We're still reading the news.
Yes.
Thank you for watching us. We try to have a minimum of fun. We don't do that too seriously. Our last video got like 1,000 views quite in a few days. We were
unexpectedly.
Kind of happy already with those small numbers, but we can grow. If you like what we do, just subscribe and help us to grow. If you have questions, drop them in comment. I swear we'll take them for the next podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.